All right, welcome to the latest edition of the FPL America podcast. This is David Smith.
Travis Oig.
Brian Shesko.
Gentlemen, the festive fixtures
Merry Christmas
are over.
Oh.
Happy New Year. It's 2024.
Yeah.
And we are still doing this. We are back. We have made it back. Travis, we have traveled for holidays. Everyone thought we just shut it down. Unfortunately for everyone else, we have not shut it down. So we are back and worse than ever, and this is absolutely perfect. This is a tough comeback for me because my team, when we left, they were top of the table, and now it feels like we're at the bottom of the table, my Arsenal team. We will get to them, Brian, as I'm sure you have many blazing questions to ask me.
Yeah, man.
I can't remember before we last recorded if I know everyone's really interested in the family pet saga that my life has gone through.
Please
so
tell
I
us
can't
more.
remember if I had voiced this before, but we actually now are the owners, and now that we had them for like three weeks or so. So I might have said it before, but we now have 2 kittens that are fast growing, and my daughters love them. So they are fun. A little bit. It's like having a baby. Like they're crawling on everything and knocking things off, and you got to keep them off the table instead of like swatting them. Like a little squirt bottle usually works. And anyway, so that's good. The pet situation in the Smith house is good. That's about the only good thing going on in my sports world right now. Is Michigan is when this is not a college football podcast, but Michigan wins this league. Aaron, massive Michigan fan, congratulations. It hurts me as an Ohio State guy to say that this is not a college football podcast, but Michigan cut down the nets last night, and in football.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, the all-state goalpost nets.
They cut instead of a
That's
basketball net, they just cut those down.
It must be a new tradition.
Yeah. So, congratulations, League Aaron.
It takes a long time.
It pains me to say that.
Scissors.
One pair of scissors each.
Well, I mean, there's enough players. They can
There
just
is.
cut one
That's what it
string.
takes. And they have a huge, tall A-frame ladder.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So, anyways, we're going to get to things. Look, Travis, you said before the pod, where do we start? There's been like 3 match weeks, tons of weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to briefly discuss some of the last matches. This is not going to be one of our longer pods. Always say that.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to go game by game, but I know how we do, and we get into some really good stuff.
Game by game.
No, there's no game by game really to go through, just because I think the next game week is weird. So that's the first thing.
Why? So tell me about the next game week.
Well, just it's everything's spread out.
Yeah. Did we get an updated deadline as well? Did I see that? An updated deadline? So
If
it's now
only
Friday?
there was a way we could find that.
I'll have it up.
While someone's looking that up, listen, I'm going to try to bring the energy. This along with fantasy football, which is what we like to do in this podcast, and the real world life. I also love basketball, and I've coached in the past, and I'm currently coaching my daughter's middle school basketball team. We had a game earlier today. We lost, and so I hate losing so bad. And
Maybe you should be better at coaching.
I do my best, and I tell you what, I have to give it to the other coach tonight. Their girls were really well drilled. They ran about 6 different defenses and about 4 different presses.
Middle school?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And they were full court presses, and then they dropped into a 1-3-1 half court trap. I wasted all my timeouts on trying to draw stuff up for my girls and where they needed to be.
Wow.
And so
that's too elaborate.
Like kudos to the other coach.
You say too elaborate. I say ill prepared.
Oh yeah, I guess.
I mean,
listen.
Two sides of the same coin.
We've come a long way. I'm very proud of the girls. We have a long way to go. I can say that.
You'll get there.
We can have a long way to go. Anyway, so my energy's a little down. Arsenal's energy is down.
Yeah,
and I just feel like I'm getting pounded on recently with any type of competition.
Middle school baskell coach's energy is matching the Arteta energy right now. That's
my God! I need a Dubai vacation. I need to join up with Arsenal in Dubai.
Let me just ask you this: did you deserve to win?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
no.
He's nothing like Arteta then.
No. They were the better team. This is not a middle school girls basketball podcast.
It could be. More people might listen.
They deserve to win.
Who's the Ivan Toney you can bring in to save your season?
It's a great question.
like,
I could get into that, but I don't want to publicly get into that.
Yeah, that's it. So you need to hit those remedial schools for the kids that were beating up other kids.
It's fair.
That's your defensive
I love
monster.
my team. Those girls gave everything, and one of my favorite moments tonight. Our smallest girl, she's like a bulldog, man. 6th grader. I mean, just short and just wiry and just blast with the ball. Good ball handler. She got a rebound over the other team's tallest girl and took it straight back up and made it. And it was near the end of the game. I couldn't even see her from my angle. That's how big the other girl was compared to her. It was fantastic. Anyways, all right, moving on to things. All right, Brian, let's look. And this is not an FA Cup podcast. We can start with we can start with Arsenal because they were at top of the table. And now they're down. And we also definitely going to cover this. We're going to cover briefly our teams. Everyone in the Premier League world is going to be looking at, okay, who do I replace Saka with?
Yep.
Who do I replace Son with?
Yep.
Wang's gone. Now also, and he's relevant because
you have some major injury concerns.
Wang's ownership, I mean, you might be like, it's only 8.5%. I actually would have bet it was closer to 13 or 14. So maybe that's not as big of a deal as I thought, but Trent Alexander-Arnold is now out till the end of January.
Yeah.
So now there aren't many Premier League matches in January, so that sounds bad. But there's 2 Premier League matches,
and he might be back for the second one.
And
the home to Chelsea.
Anyway, so we had there's those types of things that need to be discussed.
Yeah.
Brian, where do you want to start?
I just want to remind everyone that players are gone on the African Cup of Nations and the Asia Cup, and the people are still buying those players.
That's impossible.
And then on top of that,
sounds like a good plan.
They have red, but red triangles.
Well, but even now, I mean, so many people I just feel like this is going to be yet another the information is more valuable to you than it is to beat a price rise.
Yeah,
and this is the all-time.
That doesn't
example
help
of
anybody that brought in Trent or Jared Bowen.
No, it absolutely doesn't. So I just as a reminder, the names of significance that are gone are, I mean, Tomiyasu is injury might have prevented you from doing anything and roll whatever, but he's gone.
Right.
Semenyo from Bournemouth gone. Wissa from Brentford gone.
But
Kairu Matoma. Nico Jackson from Chelsea. Gone. Jordan Ayew. Already, Crystal Palace is going to be down Michael Olise, another trendy pick before the injury news for him.
Right.
Olise and their attacking midfield motor, Jordan Ayew, gone. Alex Iwobi for Fulham, gone. Mo Salah and Endo, of course, both gone. Kabore, cheap enabler defender from Luton, gone.
That's funny because he's in so many teams, and if you already have those other guys,
right? That's one of my problems. Serge Aurier, Son, Kudus.
I was going to ask you.
Kudus too,
and He Chan.
Wow,
players who are all not available for a while, at least a couple weeks.
Wow,
because they are all gone either to AFCON or to Asian Cup.
And Mbeumo hurt.
Mbuemo's still hurt.
Right? But was he hurt? I don't remember him being hurt
No,
last
he's
time.
very hurt.
I know now. I don't think he was hurt last time we recorded, is my point.
He was hurt.
He was?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because he was out for a while. You're already talking about
I'm back in 23. I'm back in 23. Okay.
You're in middle school basketball brain.
You need to
turn
so fair.
No, like you said, I think the first thing that everyone needs to deal with is that almost no one was more essential in the last few weeks than Trent Alexander-Arnold. Hyperextends his knee against your guys, beating your guys to a pulp in the FA Cup.
It wasn't beating to a pulp.
Really.
It was the other way around.
Smashing their faces straight into a muddy puddle. And then he is now out for, a few weeks is the official word. So a little tear in the lateral ligament of his knee. Needs time to recover. That's your Liverpool team description.
Doesn't sound good.
Doesn't sound like
he had a scan. He'll be out for a few weeks. Minimum, he misses Bournemouth. if a few weeks is literal
in both Fulham matches,
right?
They're not Premier League, so
right for FPL purposes, you might see him in training ahead of Chelsea. That would, like you said,
but even then, he's probably not getting 90 minutes at that point.
I'm just like a slight tear. That just seems like trouble.
Sorry if you're one of the 400,000 managers who brought him in this week already.
That was a lot.
Wow.
But if you can afford to keep him, are you keeping him? Like for me, like once we get into the actual TS, I do have him.
I don't
either.
So I have him, and I already, because Son, Salah, and I already knew Kabore was gone.
You have Hee-Chan?
I don't have Hee-Chan. He is gone, but I have between injury triangles and suspensions, Senesi from Bournemouth suspended.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mo Salah, Son both gone. Alexander-Arnold out. Bowen, Jared Bowen, we just said
Injured.
a little bit. No one knows exactly what the timeline is for his injury.
Has it not been released?
No.
Nobody's really said.
And then
much
Kabore.
about it.
So I have 6 minimum. I have 1
you still
orange.
have Haaland or no?
I do not. I have 1 orange and 5 red triangles.
Okay.
So I am going to have to take a minimum minus.
All right. Are you
4
considering a wild card? Because it's open now.
I am not.
You're gonna grind through this.
I'll take a hit before I'll use my wild card.
Okay, why? Because
there's gonna be a lot of double game weeks.
I will probably do the same thing. I just want to know your mental
yeah,
space.
that, and I just feel like the moves that I need to make, like, once we talk about Haaland too, there's just too much that has to happen already down the road that I know of. That, like, I don't want to use my wild card now and rearrange everything, knowing that, like,
after the end of January,
because part of that is bringing Haaland in, and if it's me selling Son and Salah now to bring in players that I might end up swapping anyway for Son and Salah when they come back, it's just going to be too much money, and there's going to be transfers somewhere.
If Haaland's healthy, would you wild card to get him back in?
No.
You don't have to wild card to bring him back in because you can sell Salah or Son.
I understand. I'm with you, but I'm just thinking that the too much else has to happen. I'm trying to figure out what else needs to happen. You're basically talking when everybody comes back.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to move everybody around anyways.
Right.
So you'd rather wild card when everybody comes back than do it when they leave.
Yeah, and I think everybody's kind of in the same boat. Or a similar boat. Like, there's a lot of people with a lot of players.
So you're saying a lot of people are going to have to take hits.
Yeah, and maybe not. And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, no, I could do a minus 12. But I'm even looking at it now. Like, that's 6 players. So to field an 11, assuming Jared Bowen's out, to field an 11, I have to take a minus 8.
Ooh.
So if that's a minus 8 for players...
And that's
that
with
I'm
no
gonna
bench.
Right, then I'm going to...
That's a minus 8 to get 11 and with no bench.
Right. It's not great. So
the other thought is, if you do wild card now, and maybe it doesn't look as bad, and everyone else is taking hits to just field a team,
spread out, bringing everybody back in.
That is the thought.
You can't spread everybody out right now because they're just gone.
Because there's no options now. So
yeah.
You either, if you wild card and other people don't and do take hits, minus 4, minus 8, minus 12, if you get wild, then technically you're gaining a little bit on people. And if Travis, then in other words, you're just pushing tragedy.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be tragedy, because if you wild card well now and injuries don't hit you for whatever your wild card team is, you may miss out on some of the bigger players for a week, maybe 2. While you're waiting for free transfers,
but you could them back.
But you could spread your hits out over a couple of weeks, and maybe net a better point return to cover that, as opposed to having to.
Yeah, that's
rough, man.
I know.
I hear what you're saying, and I don't think it's broken logic, but I don't know that I have the balls to do something. But
this is what I mean. Like, so I said it whenever I brought Senesi in my team. At the halfway through December or whatever.
Yellow card issues.
Yeah, we said already in his he had 5 starts and had 3 yellow cards.
He was really good for you.
No, he's awesome.
Senesi has been a steal. What's his ownership? 3% maybe?
It's low.
Or less?
No.
If only there was
4.4.
4.4%.
Okay.
And that's after after his suspension kicked in.
Kabore was a nothing player to have anyway. Right. And this is me with Trippier in my defense, who was one of the priority sells for everybody in the weeks coming up. And now all of a sudden with Trent's injury, you might not be
City on the 13th.
You might not be bringing Trippier.
They're in free fall though. Still, I mean, they had a big FA Cup win.
They are hammered with injuries. Talk about injuries.
Yeah, they had a big win in the FA Cup, but I don't think that's enough.
So yeah, just to go through, just for injury's sake. So Trent, I don't know what you do with him. I'm assuming most people who brought him in are either going to turn right back around and sell him, or figure out some other way of replacing
for 1
a defender.
Week, though? That seems weird. maybe 2 weeks.
The currently
probably
says
2 weeks.
Back January 31st.
But still, I mean, so that's 2 weeks.
Right. That's best. I'm saying that's best case scenario for him.
That's a good point, because two
match weeks.
Right.
But still, I mean,
it's the end. It's still the end of January, right?
That's the same timeline that Salah and the boys will probably be on as
Jared Bowen.
It could be gone as long as February 17th.
Really?
Returning February 17th could be the.
No way! I thought it was just going to be two or three games, maybe 2 games at the most.
No, I just looked it up because I wanted to know.
If only there was a way. When does AFCON start? Look that up while Brian, you finish your thought.
So Jared Bowen is the next major injury. Jacob Steinberg, reporter from The Guardian, he killed everybody earlier today when he said that the scan on Jared Bowen's ankle injury is not encouraging. Unclear when he'll be back. I know for FPL prospects, like if you watch the Brighton 0-0 draw, you saw kind of what West Ham looks like when they don't have Paqueta in the lineup.
Yeah.
And so I know there was already some discussion out there about what West Ham looks like when you're down Antonio. Kudus was gone.
Yep.
Right.
And Paqueta was out injured.
Yep. And so Bowen,
that's
looks
why
pretty terrible.
Right before we recorded, Travis said, "Oh, I missed the Brighton West Ham game 0-0." I'm like, "You didn't miss anything."
Right.
And now, I mean, obviously that result speaks to no Kudus.
Right.
Injured Bowen.
So Kudus is out as
Paqueta.
long as he's gone at AFCON. And Paqueta's calf injury, same reporter saying, is going to keep Paqueta out for 4 weeks.
Oh.
So
that's not good.
4 weeks.
Bowen not encouraging.
Again, that's a month. So you're saying, I guess beginning of February, second week of February, whatever.
So AFCON starts the 13th. The first match
of January.
Is on the 13th of January. And the final is currently scheduled for February 11th, making the first match that those players can come back into, match week those players can come back into, is February 17th.
Wow.
Unless you're one of the 753,000 managers who brought Jared Bowen in already for this game week.
Stop.
You can't buy him now.
Really sucks.
You might not have the luxury to wait for clarity on the situation if you have him now. So
if he's remotely healthy in training, he's got to play.
Yes.
Based on everything we just said, he has to play
for sure.
They don't have a choice.
And he already once this season had a report of an injury that seemed like it was going to be serious that turned out to be he missed a week.
He had fluid on his knee or something like that. Yeah.
So that ended up being not nearly as serious as what it sounded like.
But this guy said, scan not encouraging.
Well, here's the deal.
Right.
The issue is, and what I think the most incendiary thing that's occurring right now is all the shots of the final 30 seconds of the match where he stayed down for the final 30 seconds of the match, and he had to be helped off the pitch and into the locker room by 2 trainers. At the end of that match.
That's not normally good. If you need help walking,
that's normally good. Right? No, you're right.
We are not one person in this room is a medical professional.
No,
but
I
gotta say,
I mean, you're close.
I'm close. I have a father and brother,
you have relatives who are doctors,
medical doctors,
for sure.
Nurses in the family. So
my guess is they would say it's not good if you need to be helped into a place.
Not a good sign.
Yeah, so Jared Bowen, who is at 32% selected, 32.8%.
What was the actual injury on Bowen?
He's owned it.
Was it muscular? It was ankle.
Ankle.
Was it tackle? Was it rolled?
It looked like a contact injury.
Okay.
From what we could tell, it looked like a contact injury, and that is part of the enigma of what's going on, because there's every chance that it's a bruise and it'll heal and it'll be fine.
Have you seen the cowboy hat sitting over here?
Yeah. I've been wanting to wear it. Will it fit me?
I don't know.
Is it yours?
It's for
or
a
your
toddler.
kids?
Let's get it.
All right, grab it. I will wear it.
Hey, we can wrap up our Rodri Foden Doku bet.
Is it?
We'll
time?
do that later. No,
We'll do
later.
You're way too excited for. Wow, that is toddler.
That makes it better.
Yeah. So
That
Jared
makes
Bowen.
it way better.
So Jared
Look how high
Bowen.
it's sitting on my head.
You can't do anything with Bowen if you have him.
It's perfect.
I think if you have him,
This is great for the injury roundup. This is perfect.
The injury roundup. There it
yeehaw,
is.
partners. Next question, I think, is how fit is Erling Haaland?
Okay.
So,
I mean,
Do we need to go to Alex for this?
I can get that to
all
you.
right.
or what Ben says too.
The market is confused.
Really?
Yeah.
287,000 transfers in, 230,000 transfers out.
People haven't transferred him out already?
He's down to 53.8%.
Whoa, he was at like what?
He was at
80?
90. He was at-
Was it
something.
90?
He was at
High
90s, yeah.
Well, no, he was
at
90%.
90%.
Why wouldn't you?
Again, not to be conspiracy theory about the price changes, but that was one of the things many people pointed out was that he lost 40% of his
And his price didn't
selection,
change?
and his price only went down a tenth.
Yeah. Well, this goes back to the king of this was Mohamed Salah
Yeah.
for Liverpool, how his
True.
price would never drop. Anyways, continue.
Not on the bench versus Huddersfield in the FA Cup.
Okay.
He was in a puffy coat.
Has he been in training?
Oh yeah. So
Okay.
that was
Yeah.
he was in training ahead of Huddersfield.
He's on the grass. He's
in great
fine.
spirits on the bench. So that's
Okay.
the clip of him is him,
Jack Grealish making fun of his outfit.
well, him also talking about how they want to sing when Doku went on, and of course Doku was good when he went on, and so there was just a clip of him
Okay.
like pumping the team up on the bench.
All right.
Great teammate. You gotta like the guy.
Yeah. I feel like Grealish is a good teammate.
Pep had
Whether
already.
you love him or hate him,
Yeah,
I feel like
he
Grealish is
would
fun
be.
to
Yeah.
have around. I feel like Grealish is
I tend to
James
agree.
Madison, I'll bet.
is
Oh yeah,
is
he's
a fun guy
good
to
for
have
a
around.
wind up.
Fun
Yeah.
guy.
He's
Yeah.
he and Andy Robertson.
Andy Robertson.
Andy Robertson,
yeah.
very similar.
Amazing. I'll
Yeah.
bet those guys are real fun.
John McGinn. Yeah, some good ones.
Pep already said about Haaland, I don't know for Sunday or for Newcastle ahead of the Huddersfield match anyway. So already there was
Okay.
the doubt of
He
whether or
wasn't
not
even
he
looking
right.
at the current match. He was looking ahead.
Yeah. Doku and
not a
Haaland
good
both
sign.
in first team training pictures ahead of the match, like we said. I was assuming like, hey, ease everyone back in. You know, you got Doku, you got KDB, you got Haaland, ease them back in. Manchester City Alex, actually, he did a short like solo his solo like recorded thoughts
Okay.
earlier today.
Okay.
Find it in his feed on X. De Bruyne already said out loud he's not expecting to play many minutes anytime soon. De Bruyne
Yeah.
has said that.
De Bruyne said that De
He's-
Bruyne's not
Bruyne-
playing?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Or
He
De
wasn't
Bruyne
expecting
saying
to.
Right.
Holland's not
No.
playing.
Which
That-
matches
that-
exactly what.
KDB was saying he's not expecting
Yes.
to play a lot of minutes.
Right. So there's already. I mean, a lot of people have
Because
brought.
I was going to ask about that.
a lot of people have brought De Bruyne in.
But so I want to talk about this. Since you've brought it up, I want to ask the question: who is the casualty when KDB? Because he came on, and within 15 minutes of coming on, he had an assist already.
Right.
Right. So
Wait a
who
minute.
is the casualty in FA Cup?
So De Bruyne came on,
Yes.
but we're hearing that he's not. He says himself he's not going to be playing.
Right.
Is he going to be a end of the
Off
game
the
guy?
bench. Off the
Right.
bench, likely at least for a while.
Or if he does start,
So his
He'll
he's
come
fitness.
off.
not going
Right.
to play.
So my question is, who's the casualty? Is it Alvarez?
So the
'Cause it
question
sure feels like it's
not
Alvarez.
if Holland's not ready.
Right.
Fair.
for sure. So this is where I would encourage you to listen
And I don't
to.
think it's going to be Foden at the
No.
moment.
No,
Foden's
I
in
agree.
form.
I agree.
He's in.
Fall down Phil. I hate that. Look, I picked him up
Yeah.
a couple match weeks ago, and I think I did it on the last pod. I think I had to eat a little crow there because you're like, Dave, you got Foden in your team. I'm like, yeah, I do. It's hard to ignore the numbers.
So, but both Doku and De Bruyne came off the bench against Huddersfield. Again, they were both very good.
But we do not expect De Bruyne to be starting anytime
Alex's
soon.
final take on it was that basically, since Haaland's injury wasn't a muscular injury, the way Doku's and KDB's was, that obviously his position isn't nearly as physically taxing as a midfielder, like a winger or midfielder position. That once he's cleared by the physios, that he's back in.
And this is Haaland, correct?
Yes.
And
speaking of Haaland,
he played injured, so he was carrying this.
Yes.
And was able to play with, and I mean, in place particularly
right.
well,
and
but
so
he was playing with it.
Is he going to be risked? Like there's kind of no rush, I would say, getting him back to the starting 11.
He's been fine without him.
Well, even Alex said, he said, like, unless there was a leak that you knew he was going to start, that you would just kind of not, like, there's no
Don't count on
reason.
it.
Yeah, well, there's no reason to go rushing right now.
Here's the other thing,
to go
too.
get him.
Before he got officially injured, he was not lighting the world on fire at all.
No,
he had really kind of tailed off.
But this is why De Bruyne coming back, I think that it's like such a calm before the storm feeling for everyone.
A tasty matchup to have the service
right
quality go up, right? The quality of service go up.
Who just said it earlier
with
today?
Foden hitting form at the same time.
Yeah, someone was talking
recipe.
about. It was a team, I cannot remember what team it was, but they were talking about a midfielder who plays certain passes, the kind of passes that forwards like to get. And just to say that in Manchester City's team, that's what De Bruyne, that's why Haaland thrived so much better with De Bruyne than with anyone else. The service he gives, the type of forward passes that he's giving Haaland.
I don't even think it's arguable. When he's playing and he's healthy, he's the best midfielder in the Premier League.
Yeah,
arguably the world.
Yeah, so
he's at minimum in the top 3 conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Newcastle away
most of the time
if he's healthy and playing.
Yeah, the health is a factor because he has played not healthy, and that is kind of hurt.
The other part of Alex's discussion that's really, I think, is really good is whether or not De Bruyne coming back, because of the way Foden has thrived playing more centrally
through the middle. Yeah,
that probably goes away. The two of them probably won't ever play there at the same time. Foden has been amazing there. I mean, let's be real.
He's been good. I have to say, he's been good.
Right. So he probably moves.
Well, he hasn't been playing on the wing, so he hasn't had to fall down in the box. So he's been actually having to play in the middle. He's been doing well.
True.
It's all true.
But so Newcastle, it is Newcastle away. Newcastle has been significantly better at Turf Moor, but not.
Newcastle's been better at Turf Moor.
It's
St. James.
It's St. James.
There you go. There you go.
Right. Sorry, I couldn't let that go.
Fortress. I was thinking Fortress
would blow us up on that.
I know. I was thinking Fortress.
They play their home games at Burnley. That's weird.
I was thinking because I had Fortress in my mind, so I was just thinking of Fortress.
I'm with you.
But I just don't think it's like. To me, it's different. I know that they've been bad. I just don't see them. I don't know. I just feel like they're still capable of being tough.
Either way, I was kind of hoping through this process Haaland was going to be coming back.
The bigger issue is they have 2 weeks, 2 full weeks until they would play Burnley at home, and that the other part of what Alex has said since Haaland came into the league is. When he's healthy, he starts. Period. There is no rotation for him.
That's true.
He has started. All last year, it was, when's this guy going to get hurt? When are they going to rotate him out for the easy matches? And the answer was
never.
Not.
Yeah.
He did not get rotated, and he barely got hurt last year.
Yeah.
So this injury, whatever, this is something. It's not nothing. But
I mean, this is what we were saying was going to happen. I mean, we all heard Scott talking about
last
this.
Year.
Eventually, it was going to catch him, right? And it was going to hurt City because they didn't really have an alternative,
right?
And it's not wrong; it just wasn't right yet.
Well, touche.
I mean, he's the one that
no, you're right.
Scott's the one that said it. I mean, that's fair, right? I mean, that's really what it came down to.
Yeah, but they also it required other things for it to end up being right as well. So
Brian, either way, the saying
right,
holds true.
Sure, yeah.
Look, I mean, he's been gone so long, we've forgotten how annoying he is, and so giving him credit, is easy.
All of that
I
to
saw
say,
Scott today, and we had a great conversation. But he lives in a dystopian world. Scott, when you see this, you'll know what I mean.
Like he's ever gonna see this.
all of that to say, like, I don't think you need any kind of ASAP plan to get him in.
All right,
but do you feel like he's necessary? I think we've been kind of
he's healthy,
eventually
said, yeah, he
if
is.
he's
We don't
healthy,
know he's not. We don't know that he's healthy,
But
so it's not necessary.
there are existing top level examples of Premier League FPL teams who have never had Haaland in their team. Again, the best way to protect yourself against someone who's a high point scorer, if you don't have him, is to have all the other top point scorers. You just have to figure out who those people are.
I know. All right, my point being is this: I'm heavily considering, and I don't even have all the decisions that you have, but I've had dead weight on my team. I've had Matty Cash, I've had Lascelles, Udogie, Anderson, defensive guys that I would love to move out. I think I'm ready to, Travis, I think I'm leaning towards your suggestion of wild carding at some point, because I like your idea of
I'm not necessarily saying wild card. I'm just saying don't take a negative 12.
Like, I would rather bring Haaland into my team and bench him and have that money already stored so that when I can slowly make changes later. I just feel like I like that thought process better.
You need 4 weeks, right? I mean, Salah is probably the hardest one to get back in because he's a 2 transfer guy.
Well, it just depends on say keep the money in the bank, shorty what you drank. I mean, just keep that money in the bank there. And
it just depends. Yeah, it depends on who you're bringing in on your wild card. If you can play a cheap midfield, you'd probably be all right.
I just feel like it would help change everything. And
you just need
my team's been
reset.
Okay, but it's time for, like, there's just so much dead weight. I mean, right now my front line's Watkins, Solanke, Alvarez. Fine. My midfield is, and this is where I got major problems at the moment. I got Hee-Chan, Bowen.
I just heard your defense. So your midfield's your problem? Come on.
Hee-Chan, Bowen, Son, Foden, Salah. Right? So we got an injured Bowen.
One player.
We have a Hee-Chan. Yeah, I got one, Phil Foden, and he's been pretty good.
But he can't cover the other 4 positions.
He cannot cover the other at minimum 3 or 4.
Not in FPL.
And then,
how do you not have Cole Palmer?
I did.
Oh, that's right.
I had Cole Palmer, and then, remember, I made the worst transfer of the year.
We did not record since that's been talked about.
The last match week.
He hit out Cole Palmer.
No.
Why?
So
what was the motivation?
It was part of a hit.
My subs that week, and if you go back and look at the matchups, if only there was a way, I brought in Bowen and Foden, and I let go Palmer and Saka. And of course, Arsenal's been bad, but guess who scores against Fulham? Saka ends up scoring against Fulham, even though they lost the match. Bowen doesn't do anything in his match. Foden brings in a haul, but guess who also does? Yeah. Palmer brought in a bigger haul.
Like 18
so I got smoked on my last. So I did not own Foden the last time we recorded. I said that earlier. I did not. This was so in the moment it felt fine, and of course.
Story of your life.
We go
in the
back.
moment it felt fine.
Listen, we can go back and look. Before the 18 that Palmer had,
there's a lot of songs
at
about
Luton.
That.
Okay,
you're wearing the right hat for a song like that.
Before the 18 that Palmer had at Luton, it was a match week 18, a 1 against Wolves, a 0 against Crystal Palace, and then all of a sudden he busts out for an 18.
Oh, there were, and look,
hold on. Before the 1 against Wolves, he had a 14 against Sheffield. I owned him for that, but before that, it was a 1 against Everton. My point being is his last 3 out of 4.
Oh no, there were plenty of people who advised benching Cole Palmer, if not selling him completely.
I know.
So you're not alone. Plenty of people did not put Palmer in the starting lineup who are supposedly know some things.
I will be bringing him back in.
Good.
Probably on this wild card that I'm considering, mainly just because of
So the question is, do you actually need a wild card, or could you get by with
based on
2 or
his
3
price,
hits as
based
opposed
on
to
his
6?
I was talking and I shouldn't have been. Say that again.
The question really is, do you need a wild card? Or do you really just need 2 or 3 hits? He needs 6. He needs 6 hits.
That's why I don't understand how
Wildcard,
it can even not consider.
makes more sense.
Especially coming back.
Don't jump to it.
So what if I got 6 guys out? We'll make a way.
Sure.
I'm like Manchester City over here. I don't know what to do. My squad's so thin. Right. I barely have anybody.
Said,
I thought you were going to say my squad's so thick. I was like,
what clouds this even further is the fact that, and let's finally get to them, Arsenal can't score. And so guys,
they can when they want to. They just don't want to.
Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli. Yeah. Martinelli's been nowhere this season.
Yeah, that's
Odegaard
a weird one.
has been doing everything but score. He's been creating. I think in the last 3 matches against
a lot of shots around the
Cup,
18.
The FA Cup match against Liverpool, the Fulham match, and the West Ham match. I think Odegaard has created 19 big chances or something, and 0 goals have resulted from it. It's not like he's doing all the things that he needs to do. Now, the West Ham Fulham match, I think it was a West Ham match. He had a poor performance. His worst.
It's almost like you need a striker to finish all these chances.
Don't get me started. If only we had a Darwin Nunez on our squad.
He wouldn't finish the chances.
Who could finish for us.
He wouldn't
That's
finish.
all we need, Travis. My brother, Matt, credit to him, in our Slack sponsor us, in our Slack channel, he posted a picture of the 2 Spider-Mans pointing at each other.
Yeah,
and it was Havertz and Nunez. Oh Lord. I don't want to discuss that FA Cup match.
What was the quote? I never felt safer than when Havertz is at my back door.
Oh,
it felt good.
Look, I want to be on the record here. I want to be on the record here.
What the heck was he doing?
I don't want to. These guys have a hard job, okay, but as a fan, I have given Havertz time, and he's been in this league for multiple years now. So there's no league adjustment. He's in a better place than he was at Chelsea, but the results are the same. And he has had games where he's played well in the midfield, but when he's asked to do things and actually score, he's just not the guy. And I don't know. There's something.
He's not a 9.
I don't like his mentality. I don't want to say he hasn't done good things for Arsenal, because there actually have been good things in the midfield that he's done in multiple games, and he's gotten a couple goals. He just doesn't have I just want guys with mentalities that are just tough as nails. And he's not one of those guys.
He does seem pretty mentally fragile.
He's not one of those guys. Yeah. And that's, I think, what bothers me the most is I need guys who, even if you have a bad game, you shake it off and you get out there and kick ass the next game. And he's just not one of those guys. And
it's so crazy. That's why we had to get rid of Scott too.
Oh my gosh.
He's not even here.
Darts. Only you could get away with saying that, Scott. Scott would laugh if he heard that. All right. My point being is Arsenal's got problems. Brian, what questions do you have?
Well, my questions about it are, I think, just for the replacement's sake, like you said. I mean, for me, I mean, we talked about this weeks ago. Like, I might have had Saka in the weeks coming up to that injury. Was kind of uncertain of whether or not he actually was injured or not. I ended up dumping him at that point. It was not I don't know that it was a bad move necessarily, because I think I replaced him with someone who got points. But but it was more like that ticking along, like an assist, a goal. Like he had just had kind of those single digit returns for most of the the rest of the time. But no, you're right. Like I think that's the vibes are bad. And losing to West Ham was a real bad vibes kind of loss. And then
we thought that was bad, and then the Fulham loss came.
Yeah, I was going to say
so
that really was.
Because you were up, right? Weren't you up 1-0? Or did you have to come back from being 1-0 down to tie it, and then you lost 2-1?
I don't recall. If only there was a way. But Arsenal also had let in. They had been tops in the league in defending set pieces. The last 3 matches they've allowed set piece goals. We could go back to the Villa match where we squandered chances. Okay,
Yeah.
we beat Brighton. We squandered the Liverpool draw at Liverpool was deserved. That's fine. That was a great match. I would watch, and the FA Cup match was a fantastic match. If only Arsenal could have finished and actually made it better. I would watch Arsenal and Liverpool currently play right now every single week. To the neutral, that it might be one of the best watches you can have because neither team backs off. It is full gas one way, full gas the other way. And credit to Liverpool for getting that win against at Arsenal in the FA Cup match. The West Ham game, 0-2, and Arsenal squandered. Actually, that was their worst match of the season. Was the West Ham game? West Ham just beat them, and then the Fulham match they squandered a ton of chances. So,
they were up after the 5th minute. Saka scored in the 5th minute.
Right, that's what I thought. I thought they were up
scored
early.
in the 29th.
Yeah.
De Cordova Reed scored in the 59th.
Yeah, Bobby Reed, love that guy. What I was going to say, Dave, is that you guys have the numbers, because I asked you before, I mean, I think Odegaard has tempted everybody, just kind of eye test for Odegaard.
Yeah.
He's looked...
He takes so many shots.
I tell you what.
He's looked like kind of your guy.
His numbers would be better if he had somebody putting him in the net.
Right. Well, but he's also, I mean, he's shooting a lot, but what I'm saying is, too, he seems to be the guy who's like even in the FA Cup game, like he was the one trying to like pump the crowd up. I'm like, the fact that he's even
having
conscientious
to do that.
of that
He's
in
a
the
passionate
moment,
guy.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think I like him as a player. He's gotten there. He's had moments and he's had FBL returns. But then, so what I was going to say is that for the season, like, I'm surprised to see, like, Saka's points are excellent. Like, I think he's a top 5 scorer still.
He is.
For the season.
He's 4.
I was surprised to see that he's 3rd for shots, because I feel like even with that slump of several weeks where it felt like he was only taking 1 shot a week or something that, he's still 3rd. He has 49 shots for the season. And then in the last 5 games, he's tied with Salah for 1st for shots. So he's taken 21 shots in the last 5 matches, which is tied for 1st for midfielder. Wow. He and Salah are 1st. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, that seems off, because I don't feel like maybe I'm just it's weird to say that for somebody who is your key player who has seemed so non-existent at times in games.
But then the stats are telling you,
right. And
he actually is there and he's shooting.
Last 5 matches, he's 2nd to Mo Salah for touches in the box.
I knew it. I knew that's where you're going. Yeah.
So 55 for Salah, 49 for Saka, and then I would say for Odegaard, like, for this season, Odegaard is 9th for shots, but in the last 5 weeks, he's 5th. He's tied for 5th. So those 2 guys, it's almost like, I don't know, Martinelli's not doing it. Jesus has been knocked again. And Nketiah doesn't do that kind of thing anyway. Trossard does it when he's out there, but he's not playing, which that's...
Play more than Nketiah.
Right. But I'm saying the burden has fallen now on Odegaard and Saka. Saka's shooting the most. Odegaard's shooting not too far behind, 2nd most for your team. So, and then you add in the chances created. Odegaard's top 5 for the season, but in the last 5 weeks, only Pascal Gross has created more chances than him.
Wow.
Pascal Gross 20, Odegaard 17 for midfielders.
Yeah.
So, like, again, he's shooting way more than he probably was. Like, overall, like, shots for the season, he's shooting way more in the last 5 games than he has, in total for the season. I guess what I'm saying is, like, those are that would, to me, it's the first choice replacements for Salah and Son. Or if you want to move Bowen on, if you feel like you got stuck with Bowen, or you had Elise and you have some money you want to upgrade or whatever,
Elise would be a great add.
The obvious choices are your 2 guys. Probably, preference probably for Saka, just an overall performance, but Odegaard's not a bad choice. And then your guys, a midfielder replacement from one of the Liverpool,
like a Jota Diaz type.
Yes.
Pickup.
So Diogo Jota.
So that's my question is,
I'm not changing the way I say it.
You hate your team, and they're a real bummer right now. So
my fantasy team or
no Arsenal,
both.
Arsenal Football Club.
I'm just
She's
worried,
real
man.
horrible.
I'm kind of down. I'm kind of more down and worried.
Are they bouncing back? Like, can they bounce back?
Like, if you don't, you're still into, at this point, you're in two competitions. Okay, you're playing a Porto team coming up in Champions League that's better than Fulham and probably better than West Ham. Okay, so, and you just got worked by both those teams. Now, we outplayed Liverpool, but that was a Liverpool without Virgil,
right?
Without Salah, without multiple people.
Yeah.
We outplayed them, but still lost.
Well, I was going to
say, so it doesn't matter if you outplay someone if you still lose.
Was John Champion calling the game? I can't remember who was on the ESPN broadcast, but I mean that was
so smug.
But that was it was because it was said numerous times. Questions will be asked for that exact reason.
Completely fair.
The lineup, Virgil was sick.
Yeah, we outplayed them, and we should have. Based on lineups going out. On paper, we should outplay them.
Yeah.
We outplayed them, and guess what? We did not get the result. Liverpool was more clinical, and I said it in Slack, on our Slack channel at halftime. I said, we lose this game. Jota should have scored on that header. I predicted Jota scoring and being the difference, but I was close. Travis, I was close.
I mean, let's be honest. I did say a Arsenal defender was going to score. I was right. It
was a tie
for a different team.
Sucks. The own goal sucks.
Man.
Kiwior had a decent game too. It just stinks that happened. Anyways, so reeling this back in, Brian.
Dave, the issue is that you play like everyone's going to look not only at it's Arsenal, they're the best team in the world.
Right.
Their next two are so green. According to the matchup rater,
we're at home Palace
because you're home to Crystal Palace,
which in Palace has a ton of people not there. You already Olise won't be there, IU won't be there, and it won't surprise me if they have a few other people that we don't know that won't be there.
Right. So this is going to be a who knows what you're getting lineup from Crystal Palace. I want to say that Crystal Palace might have it in them. I mean, maybe seasons ago they had it in them to give you guys a game. It seems like they don't right now. Although the last time, the Crystal Palace played really well. The last game, like they've put in performances where you're like, where did that come from? I thought you guys were too banged up to put in this kind of performance, and they will. They can do it.
Arsenal has been horrible this year in London derbies. Last year, I think they might have been undefeated or close, maybe one draw in London derbies. This year, they have not been good. Reference Fulham, reference West Ham, and we drew Tottenham. So, there's probably one or two others I'm forgetting, but whatever.
Yeah, last 5 matches for Crystal Palace, like they lost at Chelsea, but otherwise it's a 2-2 draw at Manchester City. The greatest derby on earth, the Palace, the M23 derby with Brighton.
Yeah, I knew that
ends 1-1 as it typically does. The loss to Chelsea.
That's true.
A 3-1 smashing of Brentford, and then eked out in the FA Cup here. The last match they played 0-0 against Everton.
Listen, I'm sure.
I'm just
Palace
saying, like,
will come to play and they'll be very good.
That's what I'm saying.
And they do.
And Eze is back.
Right.
So that helps.
Is he or is he hurt again?
No,
or is
only
Olise?
Eze, Brian is the Eze guy.
Eze's back. Olise's hurt.
Yeah. Can't have nice things in Crystal Palace. So I guess that's what I'm saying is like,
all right, well,
I want to believe that Arsenal has it in them to bounce back. It's just that these are such bad performances.
If I was to wild card, I would probably still have Saka in my team and hoping for
right. And this is why I'm saying, like, if I take a hit this week,
that's interesting.
I'm saying if I take a hit this week and bring in someone like Saka, I'm bringing in a top 5 midfielder asset. Period. Like that's what I'm saying. This is
which
not
limits
like,
you. Yeah.
This is not like I'm bringing in a guy. I'm taking a chance here on like Anthony Elanga or something. It's not like
who is also injured.
So another guy who I had in my team that I would consider on a wild card, especially based on who's not going to be there, is Douglas Luiz with Villa.
But by the way, top 5 midfielders, the only midfielder in the top 5 that does not have a triangle right now
is Saka.
Hey,
that is very interesting.
And and guess who has the other 4? Me on my team.
Just clear it up just as a final word. Is there any world you see yourself taking Odegaard over Saka?
No.
Okay.
Not at the moment.
Would you ever have them both?
You did have them both for a good little while.
I know you did.
Last year, I don't know if I've had both this year.
Okay.
Last year I had Odegaard, and Odegaard was like a top 5 scorer last year. He might have been top 3 actually. But last year no, Travis, you're giving me a face. I'm serious.
I don't know if that's true.
If only there was a way.
Would you have both of them now?
No.
Okay.
No.
So Saka only
and
cannot advocate for Odegaard.
And I'm only advocating for that because Salah, Son, Bowen, and Hechan are like not available possibly for the next month.
Right.
So Saka currently is not in my team. It is Salah, Foden, Son, Bowen, Hechan, and I got 4 triangles.
Right.
And 4 of those guys I just mentioned are in the top 5 in scoring, and Foden is 7th.
Right.
So, and he's been coming on strong. Foden had a slow fall down. Phil has had a slow start, and he's really been coming on.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to say, like, just for the sake of your team, like, just to clear that up, like, that there's no.
Also, I have Raya as a goalkeeper and Saliba, and Arsenal. They've been grinding. They haven't had a clean sheet. They clean sheeted Brighton, and before that, it was week 13 against Brentford. Yikes. Just horrible. And that's another thing I can clean up on my wild card. Not that any goalkeeper has been reliable this year, other than maybe Alisson, as he's a top leading scorer for goalkeepers. And Liverpool's schedule coming back is pretty good. So.
Big turnaround for the season, too, for Arsenal defense. Saliba and Zinchenko for the season, both in the top 5. But in the last... And Ben White. Actually, Ben White's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in the last 5 weeks, Gabriel's the only Arsenal defender in the top 10.
In the last 5 weeks?
Yeah.
Which is good. Weird because, again, everyone was moving to him.
And I get, like, part of it was Zinchenko.
Way before
Zinchenko got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You guys keep conceding in weird ways, in new and creative ways. It's like the best thing about you guys now is the way that.
Thanks for reminding me.
No, I just want to throw that out there too because I feel like the green is going to sway people. You're going to see Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest away, and you're going to say, "Well,
Forest,
I need to get on that."
Forest is thin because they did lose a lot of players to AFCON. Maybe not all starters, but they lost a lot of players to AFCON.
And you'd still bring in, if you didn't have an Arsenal defender, say you're on a wild card, you'd still bring in Gabriel or Saliba now, or are you that sour on them that you wouldn't even advocate that?
That's a hard question. I mean, I was already thinking about that because I'm like ready to overhaul my entire defense. I'm looking at the fantasy defenders. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, I'd gladly, I can't wait to bring Tarkowski into my lineup.
Okay, right.
And Porro and Trippier.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Porro's probably fine.
But seriously, I don't know. I mean, there hasn't been a great defensive team this year for the most part. Arsenal's had good defensive stats, and TAA is tops: Trippier, Pedro Porro, Saliba, Zinchenko, Virgil, White. I mean, I am kind of surprised that Arsenal has 3 in the top 7. So I don't know. Maybe I probably am being too negative because I'm too close to the situation, and so maybe I do hold on to Saliba, but I'm not going to hold on to Raya. I can promise you that.
Last 2 quick questions about Arsenal, and then you have all the Liverpool things to answer. First, Dave, will Gabriel Jesus ever not have some kind of injury?
Nope.
It's a knee pain this time. Arteta said it's the same knee that he had previously injured.
Yep.
So no risk.
Is he done? They're gonna buy. They gotta spend, right?
I want them to, but they're not going to because they spent too much money on Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz or Declan Rice?
Declan Rice was money well spent,
but they did spend too much on him.
No,
he may be worth it, but they spent a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's okay. But the money they spent on Havertz and the money that they spent, technically they haven't spent the money on Raya yet, but Ramsdale should still be the goalkeeper.
Should Gabriel Jesus have a permanent yellow triangle that says the words, "We cannot take any risks"?
Yes, 100%.
It's sad because it makes him and Nketiah both impossible.
Yep.
And it stinks because if you knew it was Nketiah, you'd probably feel okay.
Yeah. And maybe it will be going forward. But until we see it, don't do it.
Second thing.
He shows up sometimes. He goes on little runs.
I think he's still the leading scorer for Arsenal.
Zinchenko still knocked from before the Fulham game, but I think...
I hope he never plays for us again.
Really?
He's a liability.
He's a liability, man.
He is a liability.
We have other guys that can play the position that
Maybe you didn't hear what I said. He's the 4th highest scorer in FPL for the season. Fifth highest scorer for FPL.
Saliba's 4th. But
will Kiwior matter at all? I seem to remember.
I want him to.
I seem to remember thinking. I mean, obviously, the own goal against Liverpool.
Yeah,
in the FA
that's
Cup.
brutal. That's brutal.
He wasn't at fault for other. It's not like it was.
No, he was not Zinchenkoing away balls to the other team.
But Kiwior's not. This isn't like he's going to play because he played on that side.
With Tomiyasu being gone,
right,
and Zinchenko kind of nicked up a little bit.
I'm saying Zinchenko's 5.2, and Kiwior, who's capable and has shown that he's capable, is 4.3.
Right. So if he ends up starting a couple matches, that's going to be an absolute, like, oh, okay.
Right.
I'll be keeping my eye on that because if I have options to get Kiwior and I know he's going to start some matches, that is interesting. And I know he's good at scoring because he just scored on Arsenal's own goal last match.
Okay. I think that's all I have about Arsenal.
All right, Liverpool, here we go.
Here's my question, Travis. What I want you to explain is tell the world why Liverpool is not going to struggle until Salah and Trent come back.
Because hold on, and I just want to predict this, and I don't know the numbers, but you probably have the numbers, Brian.
I have a really great number for you guys.
The goal involvement for Salah is irreplaceable.
I agree.
And then when you add Trent into that,
I agree.
There's question marks, right?
Here's your hard stats. Since Trent started going nuts in game week 9, Trent and Salah created 39 and 30 chances respectively. So 69 chances created. The rest of Liverpool, all players total, created 125 chances. So 70 to 125, 2 versus 16 or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. One of the chances that was created from the rest of Liverpool was Joel Matip. Okay? 6 of them were Endo. 15 of them were Tsimikas. So
all players that aren't available.
22 of the 125 are created by players who aren't there and who, I don't know, you're not really counting on those guys to do that anyway. So I guess what I'm saying is it's 103 chances created by the rest of the active Liverpool roster. 103 versus 70 from Salah and Trent. Nuts. And Szoboszlai is third.
I don't know. What's that?
He's third most. Like what you go. So it was Trent, Salah, Szoboszlai, and Szoboszlai he's created 18, and he's currently listed with a hamstring injury. I assume it didn't seem like it was this year, right? But either way,
is he going to be out till February?
Probably.
Well, I mean, it seemed like there was a chance he could be ready for Bournemouth.
But at this stage, I don't know that they risk him.
I'm saying like that's so. Say you throw him out too. So that's 87 of the chances. Do you know what I mean? Then you're talking about 87 compared to like 80 or whatever it is of the collective goal creation of the team.
And obviously we need lots of chances created because we can't finish them.
Right.
Because Darwin Núñez.
Which might change depending on where Jota plays.
Correct. So that
is the whole question is, do you trust Darwin Diaz Jota to run your attacking show for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
I would add Gakpo to that and say probably yes.
Okay.
So the primary thing that I would say is that we lose chance creation from those players. Yes. We also gain back Alexis McAllister, who is very good at chance creation, even though he's playing deep in a holding role. I harken back to that center back splitting pass that he put in match or two ago over the festive period when he came back. I can't even tell. I mean, it was just a 10 out of 10 pass. Just amazing. From the center circle, through a pass, split the defenders, forward runs onto it. I don't even remember if they finished it, but it was fantastic. Absolutely beautiful. Exactly what you're looking for. So, yes, we miss Endo. Yes, we miss Matip. Yes, we miss, obviously, Salah and Trent. But what we get in place of Trent is defensive solidarity in a youngster who is very good and came on against Arsenal in the FA Cup and shut Martinelli down, who is a good player who is struggling, but he didn't give him any space
it's Martinelli
whatsoever.
Of the 23-24 season.
Right, who is still
not shutting down the Martinelli
who
of
is
the
still a difficult player to
23s.
contain, right?
Yeah,
We have
that's
Joe
fair.
Gomez on the other side who again shut down Saka, who Saka had chances, missed them, but he was played tough, right?
I want to give Gomez credit here because he did play well.
Saka wasteful.
Oh
right?
my
He
gosh.
should have done more. Yeah. That said, I think defensively we will be solid without Trent because he's not a contributor. And going forward, we have McAllister and we have the opportunity for those players to express themselves a little bit differently than they do right now. Right? So between Gakpo, Diaz, who likes to run, the thing about Diaz specifically is Diaz likes to run across the field, right? He likes to switch sides and carry the ball for long periods of time and find space to either play a pass or take a shot. That doesn't work when he enters Salah's space. So he's on the left, Salah's on the right. If he dribbles across into Salah's space, he passes the ball to Salah, and then he's isolated and has to run back to his spot, right? Mm-hmm. When Salah's not on the field, that's not how it goes. Diaz can wander and spaces open up and they play more fluidly with Diaz, and Jota loves that as well, or Jota as you like to call him.
Jota's fine.
All that to say, I'm not overly concerned. I think it will be more difficult for them to score goals. I do think they will struggle a little bit, but I do think they will be more defensively solid and they will find the net at some stage. So I'm not overly concerned with that.
My plug for Jota would be, I mean, aside from what we already know of him, which is he seems to be real good. It's hard because he hasn't played a ton this year, you know that, but on a per 90, so just sorting him by per 90, he's played 660 minutes this season. Per 90, so anyone who's played at least 650 minutes, his goals per 90, he's second to Salah for the season, this season. So I get like,
because he's just not getting that many 90s,
right.
But when he does
so
play,
Salah's
he's
a
scoring.
.72 for midfielders. Elise and Jota tied with 0.67, so not that far behind on goals per 90 among midfielders this season. Season,
I would not be surprised if he doesn't see as much playing time as we expect him to.
He's sixth for shots among midfielders per 90, 3.2 shots per 90.
I get the sense that Liverpool is going to double down on playing Darwin and try to get him to break through. Give him minutes and will him to figure it out.
Yeah.
Give him every opportunity, give him every minute that they possibly can, because he's not playing poorly.
Does Darwin think
he's just not finishing every opportunity that he's getting?
Does he think he's playing for Arsenal?
No.
Sure?
Honestly, I don't know what it is for him, because
when you figure it out, will you please call Arteta and tell him? Because we have guys with the same problem.
It's weird because, again, his upside, like his quality is so high.
If there's one thing I'm tired of hearing,
thing is just
at least I've
so
seen
far
the
off.
Arsenal guys do it. I've never seen him do it.
Well, I mean, he's doing it. He's doing it okay. He's just not doing it at the world class level that we expect him to.
Yeah,
he's scoring.
He's an XG monster.
That doesn't.
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Pretty sure that's what they called Travis in high school.
Oh yeah,
no, it
XG
wasn't.
monster.
No, it wasn't.
All right.
Expected scoring rate.
I mean, I guess my point is we're not complaining about how bad Isak is at finishing, right?
Never.
Right?
Never.
But at the same time, Darwin Nunez has a significantly, I would say, it was 5 points more FPL points than Isak. Right. The expectations for Nunez because of the minutes he's getting compared to Isak, but also the chances he's getting compared to Isak
it's the way he looks.
Significantly different.
It's his athleticism. He's a
striking young man.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
he's a villain.
I'm just saying, I think everyone's fit. You got to be fit to be a striker or whatever. I just think that there's a weight to. It's like if Giroud was a real dud of a scorer, and you just say like, that guy that handsome. That handsome shouldn't be this.
Let's talk about it. Hey, hang on one second.
Is he in the market? Could he come back to Arsenal for January?
I mean,
was he in Milan? Hey, let me ask you this. I have a question for you. What do you think the minutes difference is for the number of minutes that Darwin has played versus the number of minutes that Isak has played?
I would feel like
I am floored by this number.
I
by the way,
think Darwin has outplayed him by minutes.
By how much? Significantly or minimally?
I actually think Darwin's played less minutes than Isak.
I just think Isak's his injury has kept him out, and his minutes are managed and not in the way once Darwin got in the lineup, Darwin hasn't come out of the lineup.
Do you want me to tell you what the difference is?
100.
I bet Isak has more minutes.
Isak does not have more minutes.
Wow.
As it stands right now, it is 64 minutes difference.
Okay.
And Isak has 64 less minutes than Darwin. So the fact that I compared them was actually probably pretty good.
No, it's spot on.
And the bottom line is, again,
4 minutes is a game for some strikers, right? So it's one game maybe.
Ish.
But still, it's close.
That said, Darwin has five more points than Isak, and we're not beating Isak up.
Brian, you've been on record in this pod saying whoever is striker for Newcastle, you need to own.
Can't have him.
Can't do it anymore.
I know.
No, it's like.
But my point being is, no one's ever said on this podcast, got to have Darwin. At least I haven't. I know recently
we've discouraged people.
I've only said I want Darwin.
I want Darwin to reach his potential.
Well, no,
so
not even reach his potential.
Him.
I want, like, there was part of me that always was kind of buying into the existing narratives that are out there about him, and I think this quote unquote ceiling, the eye test part of it, the chances, like getting into scoring positions. Everyone can see that, and so there was a part of me like anytime you were seeing it where it's like all he needs is the roll. Well, he got the roll. Then it's like, well, all he needs to do is finish one. It's
right.
Like, when's he going to finish that one?
Right.
He keeps not finishing the one, but then, like you said, he does get an assist. He does get some points here and there. And so then in the end, you're like,
I mean, he scored against Burnley. Let's be honest, in week 19. So that did happen. He scored against Sheffield in week 15.
He did put a couple of them away.
That's a lie. That's an assist. That's not a score. That's not a goal against Sheffield.
Right. So he's put some. I'm saying he's done some of the work. There's no chance that he's a replacement for you in your forward line. Yes or no?
No.
No chance. Dave, there's no way you're getting him.
Darwin?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
He's too expensive. If he was cheap, maybe.
But I guess
no. I got Watkins, Solanke, and Alvarez. That's the least of my worries at the moment. Is my front line.
He's less expensive than like Ivan Toney right now, but I feel like Ivan Toney is more.
So
almost more willing to come back.
He came back. He's played. I think
he played for the B team. Yeah.
Okay. He hadn't played. He didn't play in the FA Cup.
He scored like a lot. He did not.
He did not play in the. I thought maybe he played in the FA Cup with Brentford.
I don't think he did.
If only there was a way.
Your all futility team among forwards this season led so far at the halfway point, led by Darwin Nunez, 18 big chances missed, 5 goals. So, second is Erling Haaland with 17 big chances missed.
Wow, look at that!
But 14 goals.
Oh, wow, he's had a lot of chances then.
Right, tons of chances.
Jeez,
he's missed some real close ones. But there's no way in the world. He did it last year. I think he was number 1 for big chances missed. But
he's pounding in goals.
He scored 50 goals. So what? So are you gonna complain? because he missed what 21 of them.
That's insane.
He should have had 70 goals. That's all you say. He should have had 70 goals. Not one person on earth is saying, well, Darwin should have 23 right now. It's like, no, he has exactly the number that he should have.
Hey, can we give you a little love with your shirt? You want to show your shirt off? Brian's sporting his new. I hate it, right? So I hate all things Tottenham.
That's good. You got it.
But he is sporting his new Tottenham Sun shirt. And look,
I liked the Walter Payton shirt better.
As I hate
like Walter Payton.
everything awesome. Tottenham, it is tough to hate Sun.
tpublic.com, really cool. It's another one of those any artist can submit any design. So the Sun shirts that I was looking for, this was the design I felt like was the best.
Do you know the designer?
Art Abbas, I think. ARTABBAS. I'm almost certain of that.
Look, I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like you should be impressed that I remember the name of the artist off the top of my head while I'm sitting here.
I am really impressed with the shirt. It is a fantastic tee, and the art on it is absolutely spot on. And it's coming from an Arsenal guy, and I hate everything Tottenham, but there's nothing to not hate about Sun.
Yeah, I loved
Sun.
I loved that it had his name, and I loved that so of all the action shots that were out there, things that he was doing, I was well, Sun, his thing is the photograph, and you've seen him do that a lot. Very clinical.
You like that, Brian?
That's
you like that?
That's
am pretty. Am I doing it there?
Yeah, that's pretty much what
better?
It is. Okay,
all right.
It's
awesome.
That is closer to Ashley Barnes' finger mask than it is to Sun's photograph. Yeah, so that's so TeePublic was a place.
I want to give TeePublic some love here.
Years ago, I had a shirt. Redbubble was another site. Redbubble.com was another one of those sites where if you whatever you make whatever, because that's where I got a Gylfi Sigurdsson T-shirt.
Yeah,
that was where my Gylfi Sigurdsson T-shirt came.
Which you regret.
Well, hold on,
a lot.
He wasn't allowed to wear it, but now he's been allowed to wear it.
I wear it to mow.
Okay, it's a mowing shirt now. Downgraded. I thought
I wear it when I work at home.
Didn't he get cleared of the
legally? He is a free man,
but there were still charges.
There was cleared of charges.
There was pedo charges. So let's just throw that out there.
Legally, he is a free man.
So, anyways, the Gylfi shirt turned into.
What I'm saying is, I'm not wearing the Gylfi shirt on the podcast. But tonight,
hey, Did you get another? Didn't you tell me you got another one? Did you get two tees?
Yeah, so actually this Christmas I got 3. I'll wear all 3 of them at one point. One is at
the same time?
No, I'll never do that.
Easy tee.
One is a band, one is an American football player from a team that I support, and then the other was from
Taking Back Sunday.
No. You would know it.
Listen, if there's one thing, hold on. No,
it is very much in my. It is in my era, my wheelhouse of music. It is very much from
Dashboard Confessionals.
Absolutely not.
Green Day.
Absolutely not. No,
my wife is going to see Green Day.
Third Eye Blind.
Third Eye Blind.
No,
that's good. Oh, we're gonna get there.
It's gonna take you a while.
John Mellencamp.
No, it's gonna.
It's more off the rails. It's more off the rails.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's down there a bit.
All right.
You want to share it?
The other. No, I'll wear it. The other.
Okay, all right.
The other one is TJ Watt.
I knew I could have guessed when you said American football.
So I
would have gone TJ Watt.
TJ Watt.
Right.
Finally got TJ Watt.
I can't believe you don't have. Do you have a Palomalu tee? This is not an NFL podcast.
The only American football actual jersey that I own is
a Palomalu.
Does it say Head and Shoulders on the back, or does it say Palomalu?
No. I would love to make this a Troy Polamalu podcast. My single favorite player.
How
of any
amazing
sport
would it be if Troy Polamalu actually did fantasy Premier League and we somehow were able to get him on? That would be unreal.
So
he seems like he would be more likely to do fantasy rugby.
Again, this is not an NFL podcast. I hate the Steelers. Troy Polamalu falls into this Heung-min Son category of players for me.
Hard to not like.
Along with James Milner, players that have never played for my team who I love. James Milner, Son, I don't know how you don't like Son, and Troy Polamalu are guys that never played for my team, highest respect for, and absolutely would just respect them so much. Anyways, Brian,
remember
next,
when we were talking about other stuff?
This is a Premier League podcast. This is a fantasy Premier League podcast. Let's reel this in.
All right,
listen.
So the Liverpool answer here, because that's where we were. The Liverpool answer
they're going to be fine.
You're convinced they're going to be fine. You are not replacing Trent with another Liverpool defender.
That's a good question. Because Liverpool's defense has been pretty good.
Hey,
you are, Virgil's the only option.
I was going to say, so how about Virgil? How about Virgil now?
Yeah.
Fourth for defenders for shots. 22 shots from Virgil van Dijk this season.
It's all set pieces.
Fourth in shots, 7 shots on target, which was tied for third most for defenders.
Yeah.
20 shots in the box, like as you said.
They're getting to the byline. They're getting lots of corners.
Number one for
lots
shots.
Of corners.
Number one for shots for defenders in the box. 20 of his 22 shots in the box.
It's a header. It's a header from a corner.
3 big scoring chances for Virgil this season, which is, I would say, overall not too shabby.
All right. I need to ask some hard questions. You ready for this, Travis?
If they're hard, probably not.
Quanta, is he going to be starting?
With Virgil back, I think the primary pair
it's
is
be
probably
Virgil and
Konate.
Konate is 4.9. Virgil's 6.3. Big discrepancy there. Just want to throw that out.
Yeah, but Virgil has the
hold on. Gomez now with Trent out.
Trent and Tsimikas out.
So Gomez is a lock.
Tsimikas and
Gomez is a 4-5.
And Robertson nowhere near fitness.
Well, we are not. That is not true.
Who's
Robertson
your starting back
and
four?
Tsimikas are both back in individual training. They should be back in team training.
Who's your starting back four? Tsimikas right now, Premier League website.
Yeah,
expected back the February 4th.
Yeah, he could
Robertson
be back
expected back February 4th. So that's at least the next 2 matches.
That's about right. They said end of February they should be back and be playing.
Gomez at the moment seems locked, and he's at a 4-5. So tell me Liverpool's starting back four. It is.
I don't know that Gomez is going to get locked. I don't know that Gomez is going to get locked. With TAA out, he could play on the left or the right. He's probably more likely to play on the right, and Bradley will probably play
the 4-0
on
Bradley.
The left.
Is that Connor Bradley? You're telling me he's going to get a start?
Sorry, Bradley will play on the right. Gomez will play on the left, as we finished against Arsenal in the FA Cup. Right. That's the likely outside backs, and then Konate and Virgil in the middle.
All right, so Gomez is a lock for the next 2 weeks.
Sure. Yeah, I think
more than Connor Bradley.
It's like
Connor Bradley's at a 4-0.
I don't know. I think Connor Bradley actually plays. I really do. I think he plays, and I think he's okay. He returned from a loan. I think Connor Bradley plays for at least the Bournemouth match, maybe even the 2 FA Cup matches, which don't matter to us, but for at least for the Bournemouth match, maybe for the Chelsea match, depending on how he plays against Newcastle and Bournemouth. That may not be a bad pickup, but I don't think that defense is one that I'm banking on a clean sheet.
Either way, the easiest way lock into the Liverpool defense is Konate at a 4-9. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I would say
Virgil's better.
I would say,
but
if you're moving from Trent, 6'3".
If you're moving from Trent, Virgil at 6'3", you're saving money.
I guess the second.
That's what I'm saying. So
my God.
Yeah.
The other part of this discussion is that they play at Bournemouth, and Bournemouth has been absolutely no pushover here. One of the top for expected goals and expected goals conceded in the last 6 matches.
It's likely we will score, but it's likely we will concede as well. Yeah, I give you that.
Then you play Chelsea at home, which I don't know.
It's not as scary as it once was, but they're in a decent vein of form
Chelsea's
when they choose.
Chelsea is FA Cup every
not
week.
Today.
Chelsea is a coin flip. It is coin flip
correct.
Chelsea. Which Chelsea's going to show up this week?
Not just for halves, right? So it was 0-0 at halftime of their FA Cup match, and they scored 4 goals in the second half.
Right.
So
it is
very
coin
weird.
flip
But they
Chelsea.
lost for the first leg of Carabao Cup today too.
They did. They lost to
Today?
Middlesbrough.
Did they really?
They lost to Middlesbrough.
Yeah, but they
1-0.
also started Palmer as a striker.
Right.
I did not see that.
Yes, sir.
And then, so it's Bournemouth at Bournemouth, home
and
Chelsea.
By the way, they started their top lineup
True.
at Middlesbrough.
Yes, that's true.
It was their best lineup they could throw out there. There was no subs. Pochettino absolutely went for it, and they lost 1-0 at Middlesbrough.
That's wild. Okay.
So at Bournemouth, home Chelsea, and then at Arsenal. So your next 3 FPL game weeks here.
Not scared about that at Arsenal match. I'm just kidding.
Hey,
that's not going to be a fun.
That'll be a fun one. It'll be a great game.
Match.
Every match they've played has been the 2 matches they've already played this year.
We've pressed our luck. We're due for a
Arsenal
swashbuckling.
As I have a daughter who loves, instead of saying dominating, she says denominating.
Okay,
so I love saying Arsenal denominated. Liverpool and still lost the match again.
So I mean, those first 3, the first 3 game weeks of this new year are
challenging.
Say overall thumbs down.
Yeah.
Defensively, if you wanted to go to Virgil, I could understand it. I guess.
Yeah.
But
from Trent,
to me, I think you're hoping that they get it together against Bournemouth, which I don't know that they will. Chelsea feels like just dysfunctional enough that you're probably most hopeful there, and then I'd say at Arsenal you're not counting on anything.
Correct.
After that, once you get into February, you got Burnley, Brentford, Luton, Nottingham Forest, and those 4 you just say
the fixtures turn for sure, and we should have players back.
Although it is
healthy players,
it is at Brentford, which
is fine.
We'll have Ivan Toney, and that's
okay.
And Buemo might be back by then. I don't have.
And you know what? I really hope that they do.
Vissa will be back.
Expansive players, when they're not packing the box, makes it significantly more interesting to watch. And Liverpool doesn't struggle as much. Yep. Breaking down those low blocks are not something that they're great at.
All that to say, like you're I don't know what you feel like you're missing here, losing Trent for Bournemouth. I mean,
it's definitely a miss, but ultimately at the end of the day, I do think that we have the personnel to continue to compete at a high level.
Are you bringing in Jota in place of anyone in your midfield? Is Jota so just would you say Jota is your preferred choice of the midfielders?
If I was on a wild card, I would bring in Jota.
I think so. If that's the case, from a Liverpool perspective, I think probably him. But I honestly think that Diaz is going to get more minutes than him. Jota is.
Stop. Who's going to be your starting 3?
That's really, really difficult to determine.
There's no way Jota's not included in that. Even if and Klopp's done this, he'll play Gakpo in a behind the
like
striker.
A 9, a false 9.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so there's no way, because he'll play Nunez out wide, Jota in the middle, and he'll have Diaz on the left.
I think that's probably what he does. But at the same time, he's also played Nunez off. He's played Nunez off to the left and Gakpo through the middle, and not played that false 9 in order to run a diamond of some kind in the midfield. So as far as I'm concerned,
what's your best midfield?
With Szoboszlai out,
it's McAllister. Easy, he's in there.
Well, honestly,
and then
Endo has been better.
Cujo.
Endo's been a better holding midfielder.
But he's not going to be there.
Can't be there. So who can we play?
It's going to be Gravenberch, and it's going to be McAllister, and it's going to be Cujo, or it's going to be Gakpo, Cujo, and
probably
who's
Harvey
Curtis
Elliott
Jones,
out to the side,
and then McAllister. That's your midfield.
Probably, again, there's a couple different ways they can go.
Who else?
And it really just depends on how they decide to cover for Trent not being there and not having that inverted right back in the midfield.
Well, that's not going to be there.
Well, it could be if they play Joe Gomez in that position and they move him.
Gomez can't play that position like that.
Yes,
no,
he
he cannot.
Yes,
no
he
one
can.
can hit those passes like Trent does.
That is accurate.
So
However,
now you're telling me that Gomez is a lock.
It's not necessarily.
If you're telling me
it's not necessarily about the passes so much as it is about occupying space and creating overloads in the middle.
Understood.
Which for us is about the press more so than anything. And so Gomez is not a bad choice for creating those overloads and helping with the press. But again, to your point, you don't get the offensive, breakthrough passes that break through the lines from that position like Trent gives you. So all that to say,
and you don't have many midfield options.
All that to say, there's a lot of ways that they can run this. Including throwing youth into the mix, which Klopp has been known to do. And so I'm interested to see what happens against Newcastle. It's going to be
Jones, Gravenberch, McAllister, and Gakpo that's going to be in your midfield.
I hope you're right.
Jota's going to be starting as striker. If it's me,
I hope you're right.
Jota's through the middle.
I agree.
Nunez out right.
I'd like to see
out
it.
left. And then Gakpo right behind Jota.
I would like to see it.
With Gravenberch.
I just don't know that's actually going to go.
With Gravenberch and Cujo, that's your... No, that's not true. McAllister. I'm forgetting McAllister. I'd probably bench Gravenberch. It would be McAllister and Cujo. That's who I'd play.
I hope they do really good and then Salah gets sold to Saudi Arabia.
All right.
Could happen. But
moving on.
It does seem like he's going to
next on the list.
Do you know Szoboszlai has taken second most shots for Liverpool midfield?
Yeah, I think you mentioned it earlier, actually.
No,
to that effect.
I had no idea he was second. The last thing for Jota is that Jota's taken 24. He's had 24 shots, which is fourth for the midfield, and he has 24 shots in 600 minutes, compared to everyone else who's well over 1,000
minute count.
I'm telling you, Jota's the guy.
He has been injured too.
You're gonna have to.
I would love to see him come on
You're gonna have to make me not. You're
he
gonna
is
have to
also
keep him off the. I'm gonna have to be with someone to stop me from getting him in.
Jota also has the best header for a small guy.
Oh yeah,
I've ever seen.
I agree with that for 100%. Yes.
All right, moving on. Next, Brian.
That's all I've got. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I think that.
Yeah, right.
I want to bring up one more thing before we're done, and we're close.
So there's the other names. I think so Aston Villa.
Oh Lord.
Pau Torres was one of the kind of trendy picks from Aston Villa a few weeks ago. Of course, he needed to get knocked whenever everyone wanted to get him in. He missed 2 games against Sheffield United and Manchester United, but then subbed on for 28 minutes against Burnley here before the break. Not many teams have a run of matches coming up like Aston Villa. So they get Everton. They're at Everton, home Newcastle, at Sheffield, home Manchester United, at Fulham, home Nottingham Forest, at Luton. So the names are all the kind of names that you're down through the list where you're like, oh, that's a winnable game. That's a winnable game for a team like Aston Villa, depending on whether or not they are kind of sputtering right now. I just think to me, Pau Torres was one of those guys that was like, he seems to be the safest. He was coming on pretty strong there. And then, of course, once they got into a really good run of fixtures, that's where Aston Villa decided to not keep a clean sheet at all. More people have brought in Matty Cash this week so far than Pau Torres, and I just think that's insane.
All right.
That's a little weird. He did score at the weekend in the FA Cup, so there's that, but that doesn't mean anything.
So I just wanted to mention Pau Torres real quick. Ben Chilwell might be back soon.
Who?
Ben Chilwell. He was back in training.
Talk about somebody who should have a yellow triangle permanently on there.
Oh, the Ben Chilwell who was at Chelsea.
Back in training ahead of their FA Cup match this past week. Did not sub on against Preston North End. Levi Colwell's been playing left back since Mark Cucurella got injured. Cucurella's nowhere. He's had ankle surgery.
Colwell,
he's nowhere near.
He's solid. I like him.
He is solid. And he's not a horrible own.
He's also not a left back.
No.
So that's the other part of it. So I think, I don't think you're jumping in Ben Chilwell anytime soon. Also, Pochettino seemed to feel pretty free not to use Ben Chilwell a ton whenever he was fit. So I guess what I'm asking is, why are we even talking about this?
Okay.
You decided to bring him up.
All right.
Michael Olise, you thought things were getting better. You were thinking about getting him.
I was thinking about it, but now he's hurt.
Yeah, they are not getting better. Sorry if you're one of the 98,000 people who brought him in already.
Gosh.
Roy Hodgson says,
wait, people.
Hoping that this won't be as bad as the one that put him out for 6 months. Yes, we all hope that. But it's not great whenever asked about how long, he just says, I can't answer how long he'll be out. So yeah, of course you're going to be coy about it, but it just doesn't sound good. So not 6 weeks or whatever it was. So great.
Will it be longer than Jared Bowen?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Unless you find out that Bowen tore ligaments in his ankle, I would say you could almost guarantee Elise's not coming back anytime soon. Anyway, that stinks. Everton, you were talking about Tarkowski. I don't think that's entirely crazy, but Everton...
It's not, but Mikolenko, hoping form comes back, would be my ad before Tarkowski.
It's just that they might have their own kind of problem because, who knows what's going on with Doucouré. He might be back this week from a hamstring injury, but Dwight McNeil has an ankle injury, and Dwight McNeil is their top shooter and chance creator. And so what are they going to do? Is Jack Harrison's going to take over? Was somebody else, one of the youngsters, going to come in and crush things the way Dwight McNeil has been? I just wonder.
Dwight McNeil has been crushing.
He's been very good. So
quiet.
He's in the top 15 for chances created among midfielders. He's created 9 big chances, which is third best for midfielders this season. And then he's taken 31 shots, which is the number one shooter. He's Everton's number one shot taker.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying like that. So I just wonder, Tarkowski's way up there for shots. Mikolenko is way up there for shots. Like these guys, like they had a clean sheet run there, which was over. Pickford was not an insane choice to have there for a minute either. But
and then you had to be reminded that he's Pickford, and it wasn't a good choice.
So I guess what I'm saying is like this is I'm not sure all of their defenders are they're affordable, and I don't think the fixture run is, I don't know, it's not great. So I would just
the next few.
The answer to your question about bringing those guys in, Dave, do you want them for Villa, at Fulham, home Spurs, at Manchester City? Do you want anyone from Everton for that?
Probably not.
Okay.
But I tell you who I would take, and this is Crazy Town.
Go ahead.
You know who's been one of the top defenders in the last 4 match weeks?
I know who you're going to say.
No way you know who I'm going to say.
I absolutely do.
Emerson.
Oh no, yeah, I was gonna.
Emerson from West Ham.
I was gonna say Alfie Doughty.
West Ham defense.
I'm looking. If I were wildcarding today, Doughty would be in my team.
Has been good,
100%.
But Emerson with West Ham, sneaky in here. His last 4 match weeks, and this is against Wolves, informed Wolves, United, Arsenal, and Brighton. Yeah. Have what you will. These are Emerson's numbers in the last 4 match weeks against those teams: 7-9. 6-6.
Right. 4 straight clean sheets will help anyone have a top score.
So I'm just saying, West Ham.
Mavropanos is second in the last 5 weeks to Emerson for defender scoring.
As an Arsenal fan, I know all too well who that is.
Okay.
He was an academy player, came through. Arsenal sold him.
Guys, yeah.
He'd been looking for a chance, and Arsenal sold him to West Ham this past year, and he scored on us. So
just that Emerson. Awesome. Soufal is up there too. I know Soufal was. I think he's knocked.
Injured now.
But I don't know that it's that. I don't know how serious his injury is because he's another one that everyone is bringing in a ton. And I'm like, Emerson's right there. Like, why wouldn't you just go for that guy if you wanted? If you wanted to bring someone in, I just want to be
a pod that does some things responsible. And like, we need to mention at minimum, if you are wild carding, Emerson, look at that. You need to at least look at it, and then look at West Ham's games. They're not horrible. Are they great? No. They're at Sheffield, home Bournemouth. That's fine. Then you're at United, home Arsenal. Hey, you've already beat Arsenal once. You'll beat them again. And okay. and then they're at Forest, home Brentford, at Everton. There's nothing wrong. What does Burnley. At United scare you? That scares no one right now.
But I don't know though. I mean, it's just that.
Can
even
if
it's
0-0,
West Ham might not score, but can they hold a clean sheet? Yeah, they probably can. I'm just saying it. I just want to mention that it. I just feel like that's worth mentioning. All right,
I just wonder if they can't put the offensive pressure back on whoever they're playing. That's why I really think the Bowen injury, he can kind of he's still threatening enough. If he's the only one, you're still like, well, I don't want to give that guy much space. But even by himself, they were a bit toothless, and that's why I'm wondering if you find out that it's going to be a month for Bowen, like Antonio's not anywhere close. And I said 4 weeks for Paqueta. What was James Ward-Prowse going to do something like they just don't. They just don't have. I just don't think they have the attack going forward where you like Emerson for price. That's it. Like I think the 4-5 happy to bring in a guy that's like that.
All right.
I mean, can you make a case for him over Alfie Doughty right now? I don't know that you can.
Probably not. You want to read his numbers?
Well, just in the last 5 matches, Doughty's fourth for scoring. He's 1 point behind Trent in the last 5 matches. 25 points, tied for third most for chances created
And I'm pretty sure none of those came from clean sheets. There's no way.
No, for the season. This is Alfie Doughty is third for chances created among defenders. He has the same number of chances created as Pedro Porro.
Doughty in the last 5 match weeks, 8-0-9-7-9.
Yep. He's created 5 big chances, also tied for third most among defenders. Insane. He went up to 4-5.
Yeah,
tonight.
4 assists and 1 goal scored. 4 assists and 1 goal scored in those 5 match weeks.
Yeah. And he's tied for 12th for shots.
Speaking of defenders
he shoots enough
that are relatively inexpensive, Purvis Estupiñán's back.
Yes.
Who?
He did score.
Brian's boy.
At the FA Cup. A screamer.
An amazing goal.
So, I mean, I think that might not be a bad pickup either.
Brighton's defense has not been great.
Partially because he's not been in it.
I just want to say that. I mean, I can't argue that point.
He's a real popular pickup right now. So a lot of people
and
are just going straight to it.
We are not recommending any pickups till after this break.
Well, I mean, you only have a few more days. That's what I'm saying. Friday. Like, so I think that's the tough thing. Like Estupiñán, if it wasn't for Trent being the number 1 transfer in, Estupiñán would be the number 1 defender transfer in this week.
Wow.
So
what about
jump
goalkeepers?
On the train, Dave?
What about Areola? Would you dare go there with his last 3 match weeks being 8, 10, and 11?
I never sold it.
No, and the same. I never
don't
sold
own him. I got Raya and Dubravka, and I'm like, I'm just reaching and grasping for like what goalkeeper could I go to? Am I crazy to think of Neto? So in the last 5 match weeks, Neto scores 8-7-1-9-2.
Look,
am I a crazy person? What's wrong with thinking about
Definitely
Vicario?
A crazy person.
I just. There's some guys out there that are surprising.
The last game week, everyone was doing, like anyone who was, if you were like me and Travis and you had Areola and Dubravka as your 2 goalkeepers, you're screaming after Dubravka saved a penalty against Liverpool and finishes the week with an 8. Because then you're like, well, now I have Areola to come in, and Areola finishes with an 11.
I know.
So, yeah, I totally understand being upset by that. The thing, like now that we've talked about the last game week, I think the most upsetting thing easily of the game week was Salah getting to take a second penalty in that game. One of the dumbest penalties I think anybody has ever seen. I'm sure only Liverpool people would possibly justify it in some way. When have you ever seen someone, and this is a benefit to Jota, when have you ever seen someone take multiple steps after getting contacted and then fall down and then still get the call? Never in a million years.
Unbelievable.
Somehow managed to get it.
That was weird.
Which is the reason why Salah went for the score that he did. I don't know how your scores were last week. Mine was fantastic, and I still managed to drop in a couple.
Mine was fine, and I dropped bad.
Right. Mine was
green arrows, guys.
Yeah.
Screw you.
Green arrows. After like 3 straight weeks of like 40.
Whatever, bro.
I was up
Get
in.
out of
I went.
here.
I
Get
had
out
green
of here.
arrows in every single league except for our mini league and the podcast league.
Yeah.
Green arrows in every other place.
But those
except those 2.
They're tough leagues. The mini league, podcast league, tough leagues.
Thanks a lot, idiots. No, I just wanted to say that was super annoying.
Let's bring this to a close. Any last bit points? I think we've covered so much. I am absolutely considering wildcarding. I will be keeping my eyes on the ground about Haaland because that if I'm going to wildcard, he will be involved in it on some level because I know he's close to coming back. This is not a weeks thing with Haaland. He's close.
Yeah.
It might be 1 week, and that's fine.
So the next after Newcastle, so Newcastle's not like I still don't think that's fantastic for Manchester City, but it's Manchester City. They're Burnley, Brentford, Everton, home to Chelsea, Bournemouth, Manchester United. So another Manchester derby.
They're in
1, 2, 3, 4. So at least the 4 after Newcastle, I think you'd say are overall plus. Like every matchup is mostly a plus matchup for them anyway. But those next 4, like home Burnley and then at Brentford, and then home Everton. Like, are you doubling? Like, you're not selling Foden. You're finding a way. If you have Alvarez, are you keeping Alvarez, or is Alvarez going to be your guy going out?
Alvarez will be the guy going out, and Haaland coming in.
Yes.
Now, yes, and I have one more question for you.
Would you go to another guy? Would you go to a defender? Because Kyle Walker's the only guy. Would you buy Kyle Walker?
No, I'm not.
Maybe
no,
Ake.
It will be Foden and Haaland.
Why?
Ake is nicked up.
Because no, Ake's back in. He started the last 4, but Ake and Gvardiol swap places, and that's another Alex Manchester City's his feeling for them is you never know which one's going to start. Typically, Ake's started the quote unquote easier matchups, so you could risk it
even with Akanji hurt.
Yeah, I think there's still a rotation.
All right,
and now that Akanji is hurt, I don't know. It's just too unpredictable. It's just that Kyle Walker is the one guy who started every match. Also, he's the captain. So,
Walker is?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Isn't it?
Hey, if I was a coach, the guy I make captain is the guy that can find the best prostitutes. So that guy wins.
What just happened? All right. I have a question.
Yeah, Dave.
You forgot it because I said prostitutes.
Yep, you threw me off.
Ederson. What about Ederson?
No.
If I got rid of Raya, could I bring in Ederson?
I wanted to shift gears.
Shift the gears because you totally threw me off.
A lot of people are saying Pedro Porro is not a good pickup with the Timo Werner news. I don't understand that. So I'm going to ask you, is Timo Werner ownable? And is Pedro Porro still ownable?
Right, and if you had to go with it in lieu of Son not being there, sorry, not that your question is not valid. Kulu or Richarlison?
I think you still.
We haven't talked Spurs enough.
I think you go
Kulu or Richarlison.
That's where I was going.
The reason why I was going to say that is because, again, if you go just the recent results, so last 5 matches for midfielders, Salah is first in points, 42. Richarlison second, 41. Yeah. I was going to say, is he not just
59,
not just somebody you should bring in? Is he an essential?
Richarlison,
an essential own.
So the way I just set up like a wild card team, as you guys were talking, I was kind of drifting in and out here and doing.
I did the same thing.
I love
that. The changes would be 28 points.
Do it. Click yes.
And so I like this
save your team.
Now, in this team, I have a triangled Haaland and I have a triangled Salah.
So in other words, did the same.
Did you
which
really?
Is weird. Yeah, I just couldn't. Because if I wild card now, I can't get him back, which is Brian's point, right?
Can you guys do the Step Brothers? Did we just become best friends?
Did we? So my midfield is, I'll tell you my midfield is Salah, Foden, Palmer, Douglas Luiz, Richarlison. My front line is Watkins,
The only difference I
Solanke,
had was Bowen still.
Watkins, Solanke, Haaland.
Same.
Back line at the moment, Saliba, Doughty, Emerson, Lascelles, Pedro Porro, and then it's Areola and Dubravka.
How much money in the bank?
1.8.
Is that enough to get you Trent when he comes back?
I've never had Trent all season, and I don't care about owning him.
Oh, okay. Well, that is something.
So, no, I do not have that money for Trent, and I don't care about it.
Okay.
Guys coming off any type of injury never just surge unless their name is Erling Haaland.
Okay.
That's true.
I don't trust anyone else other than that guy to come in off an injury.
The thing that I like about Richarlison is that even with his horrible start to the season, I mean, he was taking some shots. So even for the season,
the last 5, he's been.
I was going to say
15,
for the season,
9,
he's
8-1-8.
For the season, he's 9th in shots, but in the last 5 weeks, he's taken 15, which puts him 4th. So he's taken more. He's been shooting more. I mean, of course, you wonder what Son being gone is going to do, but they are so. Van de Ven is close to coming back.
Okay,
right, which is important.
It's might be the most important thing. Romero's not horrible.
He's a psycho.
What they've got now, the fact that James Maddison was in the building a day ago. The fact that he was walking
Is he getting close
for with the rest of the team, he's getting close.
Oh boy!
So you're talking about James Maddison, Kulishevsky, Brennan Johnson, Timo Werner's got to fit in here somewhere.
Is that official? Is that happening?
Yeah. The official Spurs official did the video today.
What?
Oh yeah, Timo Werner's there
as of today.
It's done.
Richarlison and Son, Son comes back from Asia Cup. And then you have you have a Lo Celso who can play some minutes. He's not going to get the minutes, I don't think, when all of those guys are back.
I did not realize that was a done deal. That's a huge deal for Spurs. I do not think that the Timo Werner that was in the toxic Chelsea is going to show up.
I think they said 17 million
on a loan
with option to buy.
Is this a sell? Is a loan?
Option to buy.
Wow.
He has 2 goals in the last 14 or something like that.
It's Ange Postecoglou's. It's like his version of Fixer Upper. It's like reclamation projects.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, look, Richarlison, mate, your head, you can get it in the game, and now it's in the game.
Twitter says that it's just Dan Levy not giving up on Werner from when he was at Stuttgart, and he just kept tracking him and kept tracking him as he finally got his guy. He had to go to 3 different teams in between the time that they first started tracking him till now.
I just wonder. Look,
the thing is, he's not coming in.
No one thrived in that Chelsea.
I guess what I'm saying is he's not coming in to fill a necessary position. He's not coming in.
There's no pressure here,
right? He's not coming in because they're like, we need.
That's fair.
We needed that place over there.
They could sit him on the bench,
and no one's going to care.
Matter.
It's fine. There's no expectation here.
Build the man's confidence.
Speaking of
build the man's confidence.
Wow.
Speaking of building man's confidence, did you guys see the interview with Postecoglou about where he was asked specifically about Eric Dyer?
Eric Dyer's injury, yes.
Is it Eric Dyer's?
No, I have not seen this.
Is he injured? And he's like, yes, he's injured. Okay, well, we saw that he was looking at being transferred, and he goes, "Are you questioning my integrity?
Don't question my integrity.
Don't question my integrity.
If I say he's injured,
he's injured." And then they asked the question, "Can you afford? You got all this stuff happening, all these people injured. Can you afford to be without Eric Dyer?" And he just says, "Yes."
Hey,
I loved it. It was a great interview. One of my favorites.
That's awesome.
It was up there with a lot of the Mourinho's.
Let's shut this thing down. I love that.
Yes.
I don't think Richarlison is in any danger of losing his spot. I think the whole thing now is just navigating. They've already shown that they can do it. Every team wants this kind of depth. They have Bentancur back. They have the pieces, all the pieces in play. They just got Ryan Sessegnon back. They're getting to the point where they have some.
He's been electric.
I'm just saying they have some of these. I'm not saying Sessegnon's coming into play. I'm just saying this is another guy.
They have depth,
right? That they were missing this kind of thing.
Reguilon, they called Reguilon back from United on the loan. Reguilon is now back with Spurs.
Yeah, that is.
I don't know if that's going to factor in.
Will he still be with Spurs after January? That's a great question.
I don't know.
And whatever the deal is, I know. I don't know anything about the guy that they've been kind of
Dragovic or something.
Yeah. Yes, he looks like a Dragovic.
Ivan Dragovic.
But whatever
Drago
this guy is,
like that.
yes,
all right.
This is a deal that they're trying to get over the line here. I'm just saying, Christian Romero is there. Van de Ven is coming back shortly. and then you're adding in
Dragusin.
You're adding James Madison back to this, who
expected back January 31st.
Right.
2 matches.
Radu Dragusin.
I'm just saying, this is
right.
It's encouraging. There's a lot of positivity there, and you have depth of attack now.
Right.
I don't think the main guys.
Bye, Richarlison.
I don't think that.
Got it.
But I just don't think the main guys are getting bothered by this.
Last
I think
thing
it only
said,
is going to help them.
and I can't answer this because I don't even know who the blank is going to be on my team, and I don't know if I'm going to wild card. Who you're captaining this week?
Haaland, man.
There's no Son. There's no Salah. Haaland is question marked. Who are you captaining this week? Is it Ollie Watkins? Is it Ollie Watkins home to away at Everton?
It depends on if I wild card. This wild card I got
is
going.
Is it Solanke at
love
Liverpool?
This wild card.
I might just take the form guy and go with Foden at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Is it Foden at Newcastle?
I was thinking maybe of doing that too.
I'm serious. Out of all the weeks ever in fantasy in the last, I don't know, 3 years, I've never seen a week where there's more question marks about captain, and not like there's
Cole
good
Palmer,
options.
home to Fulham.
There is a ton of questionable
about that one.
options, right? Like it's not like there's Salah's home to Luton, Son's home to Burnley, Haaland's home to Sheffield. We're not talking about that. We're talking about all the top guys aren't available.
Mm-hmm.
So who's next?
Captaining Dubravka home to Manchester City and hoping.
Is it Doughty? You captaining Doughty this week, Brian?
It's not crazy. I don't feel like there's a crazy choice. My current captain and vice captain combo was Jared Bowen, captain at Sheffield United, with Alexander-Arnold, vice captain at Bournemouth.
Neither of those can happen.
That's what I had
that's
going
my
into
point.
This week. So
holy crap! Travis, I currently have a -28. It's either make
I
the
have
transfers
a -20 going right now,
or call the wild card. So I don't know what I'm going to do.
I got a crackerjack team going here though.
All right, quickly go through your team and then we're shutting it down.
Kelleher, because he's freaking cheap and you've never had a 3-7 goalkeeper before.
Nice.
Areola at 4-1. Saliba, Estupinian, Doughty, Walker, Pedro Porro.
Okay.
That's a rock star.
Kyle Walker.
Walker.
Say your back line one more time.
Saliba, Estupinian, Doughty, Walker, Pedro Porro.
Okay.
Midfield, Salah, Gordon, Richarlison, Foden, Palmer. Frontline, Watkins, Solanke, Haaland.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's and
I don't
zero in the bank.
I don't have Gordon, but I like that.
0 in the bank. Now, I still have Gordon at a lower price, and that's part of the reason why I kept a hold of him. Because I can afford him, and he's a good option.
Gordon went out for me going into the last game week for Phil Foden. Phil Foden was my captain.
Good move.
Last week, which was
still scoring,
which felt great.
But consistency.
It was the triangle. It was another one where Gordon was knocked, and my feeling was I didn't know that I wanted to risk having him. And of course, he did get an assist against Liverpool. So
all that to say, this is a great lineup. I love this lineup. I just don't know if I want a wild card right now. Mm-hmm. The cool thing about this lineup, though, is I don't have the same problem as you. Once I wild card, I still have Salah. I still have Haaland.
Yep,
I don't have any issues.
No Arsenal midfielder.
No,
I never did in the first place.
But that could be an add-in.
I have options. I mean, you can move from Foden at 7'9". You can move from Richarlison at 6'8". I've got options.
Okay.
To get someplace else if I needed to.
I don't not hate. I'm absolutely okay with not having Arsenal midfielder until someone starts scoring.
Yeah. I mean, I can play 5 defenders. I can play 4 midfielders, and I can play two forwards. So that puts me in a good spot. The only thing that sucks is that I got to keep playing Areola, but that's been great. So why not?
Okay. I love it. All right, gentlemen.
The other guys, I mean, I feel like we have to say Ivan Toney.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. We kind of alluded to it.
I'm not bringing him in
7'9"
Watkins
is really,
or Solanke
really
yet.
high.
You don't feel like the ceiling on Ivan Toney is $1 million higher than on Ollie Watkins? Not just an
not
Ivan,
yet, Brian.
Not an Ivan.
Not
not
for
just
me.
an Ivan Toney.
If he's with Arsenal, maybe.
Which he won't be.
Hey, I don't think he will be.
He's paying Brentford back. He's made it pretty clear his intent is to stay in January.
He is happy with the way Brentford treated him through all the controversy, and he will be staying with them.
Right.
He's not going.
They played their cards right. Brentford did the right thing.
Yeah, the whole thing is I want to reward them for the way they treated me. I'm ready to kick some goals.
And he's scored for the Brentford B team.
Right.
He's there. Like, it's really tempting, but 7-9 is just a little rich because you got to move from Watkins, the number one scoring forward in FPL right now, to Tony.
True.
I just don't know that is a risk that could very well pay off.
The other guy who now that the starts are rolling in is Joao Pedro, and that's the guy who I don't know. I get that Brighton is banged up, but there's not a greener run for anyone than Brighton and Hove Albion.
That's fair, and
I know that's a big.
Should probably get a little mention.
Not just like Estupinian, Pascal Gross, who gave the numbers a little bit ago. Pascal Gross is one of your top. He's a top 3 creative midfielder. Bruno Fernandes is a top 3 creative midfielder, and Bruno, depending on what kind of. I hate to even drag Marcus Rashford into this, but he's got a couple returns here. So like Garnacho's the guy who's like dynamic, and he's had the big moments and is way cheaper. I can understand that one a little bit more.
He's
I'm
getting
just saying,
more minutes too.
Like that's another one. Like I don't know how. I mean, you don't trust them at all. Yeah. But if it did turn. It's not because the issue is not lack of talent, is I guess what I'm saying. And it's players you've seen it before from. If it was like they've never done that, it's Bruno Fernandes, who like it's not like that.
Right.
He's a top. He the potential to be like pushing for a top 3-ish midfielder finish. Rashford was way up there. I mean, they're not dud guys. They're just having a unbelievably bad season.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So I'm just saying, like, I just feel like there are a lot of options here. And especially when, like, for me, like, I'm still holding on to, I have Cameron Archer. Like, I still have a dead third forward.
Reset, bro.
And
Wild
Archer,
card right
like,
now,
Archer,
bro.
Yeah. Archer is playing. Archer has a very much an eye test player here and has had
though.
He had an assist 2 weeks ago. He scored 3 weeks ago. So 8-5-1 from Cameron Archer, and I wasn't playing him against Manchester City anyway.
Well, I guess that's my point, is that if he's scoring and he's on your bench, it doesn't matter, right?
He was in my lineup. I'm sure of it. Because I had so many dead. I
don't believe you.
I had so many dead players.
I don't believe you.
Listen, last week he was second on my bench. 2 weeks ago, he was in my starting lineup, so I scored a 40 in game week 19. 5 of those points were Cameron Archer's points. Cameron Archer outscored Ollie Watkins 5-2 in game week 19. I love it when bad guys outscore good guys.
Oh my gosh.
But no, Cameron Archer's goal 3 weeks ago was first spot on my bench. So yes, you're right. I did not benefit from that.
Is Botman healthy?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
If Botman's healthy, he's in the starting lineup, correct? Is this the end of Lascelles playing?
Yeah, but it'll be Botman and Cher.
Botman and Cher. Cher's healthy now too.
As long as Cher is healthy.
It's Cher, Botman.
Hey, but Cher just signed a new contract. You love it when they sign new contracts.
True.
Because then they stop playing.
I don't want Cher.
So just throwing that out there.
Interesting. All right. Awesome. Well,
yeah, if I were wild carding, I would not be keeping Jamal Lascelles.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Gentlemen, thank you. Awesome pod. And I am getting excited for some weekend matches. But, Brian, like you said, it's going to be weird match times over the next... Spread out over the next few days.
Yeah, I mean, just look how spread out they are and just realize who knows what kind of information you're going to get in the next... I mean,
next 3 or 4 days.
Even by kickoff on Friday.
Right. So, but there is definitely a Friday match. Right? Correct. Definitely a Friday match.
It is at 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the United States, which means your deadline is 1:15 p.m.
Yeah. That's yes, correct. 13:15.
Yeah, 1:15 p.m.
1:15.
Eastern Central Time.
Eastern Standard Time, not Eastern.
Central.
Don't
What's wrong with you?
confuse the Centrals
Eastern
and the Easterns.
Pacific Time.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Mountain
All right.
times.
Mountain Pacific, yes.
All right.
Perfect. All right, listen, gentlemen, thank you. Brian, fantastic shirt.
Do you want to go
Travis,
through leaders?
No.
Game week leaders?
No.
Oh, wow. Whoa.
All right, fine. Black. You brought it up. Nail it.
Game week leaders. That's the wrong button. All right. Game week leaders. I've got Shin Chia-Chu, 98. Last game week, 1250 on the season. Nerdosaurus Rex.
Nerdosaurus Rex.
You're going to get fired from reading the names.
What is that? Also, it's late. League Michelle, 102. Big number for the last game week.
102.
1236 for the season.
Wow.
League Josh, 98 for the last game week, 1210 for the season. League Bo, 92 for the game week, 1199 for the season.
That's a good top 5.
And then a fucking team, League Xander, 71, 1195 for the season. So
well done.
Good stuff.
It's crazy at 71 is a down week this week.
Right. But I mean, our top 5 all were very, very high. 98, 102, 98, 92, 71. That's
well done.
That's fantastic.
Well done. Congrats. All right, listen, for the FPL America podcast, I'm pumped about the games this weekend. We will see you next time. No. What's the sign up? Until next time.
I'm David
That's what you
Smith.
usually say.
I'm David Smith. For the FPL America podcast, this is David Smith.
Until next time.
Until next time.
There you go.
All right.